be in the know, just how much to show, to know what to do, just jump in the queue, it's down to you. So what you gonna do? All in the queue, it's down to you. All in the queue, just check out the view. All in the queue. To show, to know what to do, just jump in the queue, it's all up to you. So what you gonna do? All in the queue, it's all up to you. All in the queue, it's check out the view. All in the queue.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Super. What's going on, everybody? I know I'm early today. Imagine that. I'm early. Let me see who's in the building with us today. Hey, H-Bag, what's up? Lee Hamilton, what's going on? Smooch Wife, hi. Hey, Jody. Hey, Saint Center. Master G, you always make it. I don't even know why. Hey, Kenneth Dawkins, you missed last night. It's okay. Hey, Miss Prima Donna, how you doing? I came on because I, in talking about this $1 million grant, the At Youth Risk Grant that was at the Township with Robert Hunt and Kamal and Lil Stank and hey, Light Within and all of the people that were involved. I told you guys that I had Foia, the Department of Human Services, which is where the grant came from, for the whole entire packet that they sent in. And so that Foia came back yesterday. So I wanted to show that to you guys after the initial. Let me bring up this. So we can go back, just so we can go back and see the initial questions that we had. And I promise you, I'm not gonna be up here for 2 hours or anything in that. We're gonna go through this and we're gonna go, and that's gonna be it. And then I will see you guys later tonight on Twitch for our dating conversation show. Dating over 40, dating in general. We have an interesting we have something that we're going to view. We're going to view it together. You're going to get my reactions to it. But anyway, let's get into what, and I forgot to, let me share here. I think this is what, okay. So Jody, yeah, tonight on Twitch. On Twitch, we're going to be doing different topics, more social topics, right? Jody, you might have to be in the bed. Hopefully, we're going to be on there at about 8:30, 9 o'clock on Twitch. And it's going to be more social topics on Twitch. I'm going to discuss openly and honestly with you guys about my dating journey and how I got there. And you're just going to learn things about Super, right? Because I'm very transparent. You can't embarrass me about anything. I've been homeless before. I've had to take help from people. I've been on Section 8. Nothing is embarrassing to me because it has made me the woman that I am today, and I won't take that journey back for anyone. So we're going to be discussing dating over 40 and what that looks like for me, for anyone. I'm going to put the link in the chat for people to be able to come up and talk. All you have to do is hit the link, and you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to, but you can. And we are just going to have an honest discussion about dating, our expectations, and what we're looking for. Therapeutic, but also informative, because I always got to add in some type of education and learning or whatever. So we're going to be supporting our emotional intelligence over there on Twitch. Kenneth, it's going to be as steamy as you have to understand Twitch. There are really no restraints on Twitch. You can be as open as you like on Twitch. So I don't know how open you guys are going to expect me to be, but I got boundaries. So when we get there, we'll get there. But as far as questions, for me, I'm open to all questions. For me, I'm ready to get back into life. My kids are getting older, and I want to be able to enjoy life in an adult way. Okay, so we'll be talking about that on Twitch this evening. But today, as you can see, this is what I got this initially from the Township. This register came from the Township. Okay, the accounting from the Township for the $1 million grant. It's about being respectful in your approach to acting. That's correct. 7 to 11. That's correct, Saint Center. So we'll see. Hey, Enrique, how you doing? Before I leave off of here, I will put the link for Twitch in there just in case you guys want to join, sign up, or whatever. Rodney Brown, thank you for the transparency. There are so many people hiding behind something they don't want to reveal. Rodney, and I believe that is the issue with dating, right? Because people have choices. I'm just going, like, for me, listen, we're going to talk about it over there. You're going to learn some things about super, some things you may want to know, some things you may not want to know, but you're going to get the full transparency from me over there on Twitch. And I feel like I am so done with that layer of dating where you're like in the honeymoon phase, I guess they call it, and you're being so nice, and you're like, oh yeah, if you want to, I'll do it. If you don't want to, I'm not gonna do it. No, I feel like now I'm be like, no, I don't want to do that. You go do it if you want to. So I don't know. We'll see what happens over there. Rodney Brown, I hope you join us over there because it's going to be a time tonight, okay? It's going to be a time tonight. Our daughter has a concert at 7. It's okay, Bobo. You can always join Twitch and watch the replay. I have set the settings so that the videos are still there, okay? Yeah, Rodney, we're also going to, like, for me, we're going to talk about some do's and don'ts of dating when you're looking for a quality person. We're going to get into all of that because I'm twice divorced. So I feel like I can only speak for me, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do as far as me dating, because I feel like there is piss in the pool for dating over 40, and I'm going to clean my pool up. I'm just not going to have piss in my pool, and that's just what we're going to do. Okay? Okay, Bobo, no problem. Okay, so let's get into this grant thing so I can get off here and then be able to feed my kids and prepare for the next show, right? Okay. So we ran through this grant. We found a whole bunch of discrepancies, questions that we had that we wanted to get answered. I'm going to let you know now, the Foia still does not answer a few of the questions that we had from this register. Let's just run through this register right quick, right? We had asked why the salaries doubled here. Where were the January expenditures on this particular register sheet from the township? And this was a state funded grant. And what I'm finding out about, like within, thank you. What I'm finding out about state things in Illinois is they are not regulated, I don't feel, properly. They're not overseen or regulated properly. I think you can set your Twitch notifications. Yeah, Jody, you'll set them. You'll have to set them on your phone settings. Go to your phone settings and look through your apps and set your Twitch notifications on. But yeah, so the state, like for me, I want to now write my state representative and I want to ask them to present legislation, which I am in the process of learning how to write a bill, right? Just because I want to start submitting bills to my representatives, and I'll show you all how to do that. Whether you submit them an idea or you submit them fully written as a bill that they can modify or whatever, those things can be done. But I want to begin to submit fully realized bills to my state representative about these unregulated programs in the state that involve money, right? These grants, state funded grants, we are finding some loopholes in them, right? Because when I FOIA'd for this application packet from the Department of Human Services, this registry, which came from the township, was not in there. There was not a registry like this in there. I'll show you what they asked them to fill out. So this registry came from the township. This, let me find it. Here it is. This paper is what they are expected to turn in to the Department of Human Services far as their expenditures, their monthly. This is a monthly expenditure documentation and certification form. This is what they were turning in to the Department of Human Services, letting them know on a monthly basis what they spent from the grant, right? The problem with this form for me is there's not enough information here. There's a line for personnel, and it says grant expenditures, amount included in base, matching expenditures, cash and in kind, right? While these things I think need to be on the form, there needs to be a list of the personnel. Who are we paying, right? There needs to be a detailed register attached maybe to this form, right? There needs to be other supporting documents with this form. Just having this form and turning this form in does not tell the person that is, I don't even know, like I said, it's not regulated. They're not regulated properly. But it does not tell this person who actually received what monies and how much each person received, right? This is just a list of categories, and you put the amount of money that you used from the grant in each. Personnel, fringe benefits, travel, equipment, supplies, contractual, consultant, and get this, the state packet did not include contract agreements either. So that is another problem for me. Where are if it says contractual, how are you saying this is the packet that they turned in? Where are the contracts then? Where are the contracts? I'm going to FOIA again and ask, maybe that's something I have to ask for separately. Were there any contracts turned in for people working on this grant? Contractual, because it's in the expenditure, on the expenditure monthly sheet for contractual consultant uh, monies. But they did not, I asked for the complete packet, and they did not add that into my Foia. Okay. It is nasty business going on the state of Illinois where municipalities receive grants with no supervision. That is the problem, prima donna. All of these things are unregulated, right? This is money, money. So it feels like free money to the corrupt people because it's not money that is regulated, right? But it is money that it was supposed to be for the community. You, it's supposed to be for you. Now, for me, grants just don't come out of nowhere. That money just doesn't come from anywhere, meaning that they just reached up in the sky and said, we got $1 million up there. I'm going to bring it down here and I'm just give it to somebody, to these municipalities. No. So you have to know that this money is generated somehow in kind by you, the residents. It is a surplus somewhere that was made by the residents. So for me, these types of things need to be more heavily regulated. With this should have been like a top sheet. This should have been a top sheet on top of a register, just like this, that had to be sent in monthly, so that I can go down and say, who is this? Who is that? Why did you spend this on that? You need a justification for these things, right? Because if not, this is an open invitation for what? Yep, Kenneth, for kickbacks. Yes, light within for thieves, right? If this money is surplus money created by the residents, and now we're saying we're going to put it all together and put it in the form of a grant that doesn't have to be paid back, then it should be more heavily regulated than just a piece of paper that says, oh, just put in some numbers in here. Because that's crazy to me. You know? But this is what we're doing. Okay? This is what we're doing, right? And so this is where we are. So the only thing they provided in this packet was this sheet that they had to fill out for monthly expenditures, which is insane. Where are my contracts? So now I'm going to have to go back to the Department of Human Services, fill out another FOIA, and ask, were their contracts turned in for consultants and for people working on this grant? Now, let's get into this grant packet. Okay, let's go back and make sure we clarified all the questions we had. Missing expenditures for January on this detailed sheet. All of the people working in cross departments, from cross departments that actually work for the township. It was told to me, which I cannot verify, that Roberts Hunt's salary was reimbursed to the township because he worked on the grant during working township hours. For me, that would mean he worked on the grant for free, because if his salary got reimbursed, 9% of his salary got reimbursed to the township, where is the other 81% of his salary, or 19% of his salary? Where did that go? Did he get it? If so, why? There should have been a separate accounting person working on this grant, someone who was contracted to do so, in my opinion. Hey, Shanita, how are you? Yeah, light within, that's definitely the case. Um, and Rodney Brown, I agree with this wholeheartedly. That is why I'm saying I want to talk and send a message to my state representative and tell them this is unacceptable. For tax incremented funded TIF districts to be unregulated by the state, that is unacceptable. That is a blank check for the mayor. Those things are blank checks for the mayor. If it's not a, upstanding mayor, then for a corrupted mayor, that's a whole blank check, and it is virtually unregulated by the state. That's a problem. State funded grants, to me, with no regulation from the state or oversight from the state, that's a problem. Hey, Anissa Starks, how you doing? And so I want these things corrected. I want them corrected because it will force the people to use the monies and be regulated, and there be red flags that snap when something in a register does not look right, or why is this, and you have somebody actually asking questions about it and telling you to provide the proper documentation for it. So we were missing January, February. I asked about these human resource people that were being paid out of this grant, the youth and family services people who already work for the township. Was their salary reimbursed back to the township? Have no way to verify or see if that's correct. So that is a problem. And this is essentially your money. This could have been a surplus that came from somewhere, but it didn't come from somewhere. It came from the residents. So, the powers that be that have the power over surplus money said we're going to turn this into a grant. Well, okay, if you're going to do that with my money, then it needs to be more heavily regulated than what it currently is. And so there is Michael Miller clerk. What does that mean? There were all of these things. And then when we got down here to all of the donations with the school names listed, and there were loads of them. We asked about Brandon Moman, what he was doing there, and there was no contract provided. If these were scholarships, where are the names attached to them? Who received them? This is a lot of $2,500 scholarships. Where did they go? Who received them? Did they actually go to the school? I'm going to need you to provide proof in the form of let's say you send a money order or a certified check. If any funds are used for donations such as to go to schools, I want the top part of that certified check to have to be turned in with your monthly expenditure sheet and register. I don't think that is too much to ask. Hello, Helen Gillett. How are you? Hey, Jim C. And so all of these, did you all see those? This is like 2 pages, maybe 2.5 pages of alleged donations with school names for $2,500 or more. With no names attached. And the reason I can say that is because the ones that I circled here in pink actually have names attached to them. So you should be able to give me that information, because you have it here on certain portions, but you don't have it in other places. So yeah, that's an issue for me. What else? Okay. And those are the questions that we had for this register. Besides the point of the register ending not at $1 million, but actually ending at, I think it was 800. Here it is, $861,761.43 So it actually didn't even end at $1 million. So where was the rest of the money? So that was my question for that. So let me see what y'all talking about. I can see a shell game being played out with a structure like this. Absolutely, Rodney Brown. Now, someone asked me, did they have a grant writer? I said, I don't know. And I don't know who wrote this grant. But let me tell you, whoever wrote this grant, very good. Very good. I'm going to just show you now. This is the application for the grant. This is what they wrote. And this right here, this whole thing right here blows my mind too. So hold on, let me make it bigger so you guys can see it. Let me know when you guys can see it. I could see inquiring minds want to know. Yes, Seashell. Hey, Jamal Leotis Henry, killing me softly. I wouldn't be surprised if Delgado didn't help in the shell game. Who knows? All right. So this is the grant packet. This starts the grant packet. The summary capacity. All right. It says Thornton Township has been on the front lines of serving the most vulnerable individuals in 17 South suburban communities that make up its service area since its establishment. The Thornton Township provides an array of services to help provide much needed support and wraparound services to residents. Services provided are rooted in evidence-based practice with comprehensive knowledge and experience. Thornton Township aids in the form of emergency rent and mortgage payments, feeding over 5,000 families in need monthly. Thornton Township is integral in supporting and stabilizing the South suburbs. Youth Impact will commit to engaging 39 at-risk youth each quarter for the duration of the funding opportunity. Thornton Township offers youth ages 16 to 24 employment through various programs. The programs are designed to help foster positive relationships between Thornton Township residents and youth while providing training jobs in the township. Now, I have no problem with this initial paragraph. I have a problem with some of these numbers. I would have asked for proof that they feed 5,000 families every month. The 39 at-risk youth each quarter, I would have made sure that they would have had to turn in 39 different names every month with their monthly expenditures to make sure that they are meeting their own requirements that they stated. Hold on, let me see what y'all are saying. Oh, hey, Lady Luck, what's up? Prima Donna said, I'm sure some of her colleagues are not happy with all the exposure. I know that's right. Stealing with the kids gets my goat. I know that's right. Okay, so those are some of the things that I would have asked for along with this paperwork, just for verification purposes, because we know they're not good with numbers. Let's go to Exhibit E. This is the description of the need. Thornton Township adds a much needed service connection component of outreach engagement, case management, support, and follow-up services customized to serve and assist at-risk youth in increasing positive life outcomes. Specific services offered by Thornton Township include transportation, homelessness prevention services, emergency food assistance, vocational training, employment, case management, financial literacy, and life skills counseling. Over the past 15 years, the U.S. has witnessed a general decline in overall rates of youth homicide. And then they list their source. Nonetheless, youth violence rates remain high in this country, with homicide being the third leading case of death among persons 10 to 24 years old. They list their source. And the leading cause of death from Blacks aged 10 to 24, Youth Impact specifically targets youth in this target group. Not only does Thornton Township target this group, but it intends to integrate the tip model framework. TIP stands for the Transition to Independence Process. TIP framework is adapted assertive community treatment that is team-based, community-based, multidisciplinary. Now, the one thing I have a problem with this first area here is, besides for the grass cutting program, what other program did Lil Stank have? Because to me, this is misleading. You're saying that you got transportation services. Now, they do have transportation services. They do have the food program. The vocational training thing, I don't think they even had any of that uh, after Lil Stank took office. Someone in the township, out there in Thornton Township, correct me if I'm wrong, that had not been offered. They had a big thing about this grass cutting. Um, I remember that meeting vividly, and this was the only program that they were talking about. And then they had a nerve to say that the youth could not pass the drug test. So they weren't the grass cutting thing was the only program that I know of that took place during Little Stank's time. And so I know, uh, you know, Lady Luck, you all like, share, and subscribe if possible. But yeah, so the grass cutting is the only program that I know that they have for that. Now, as far as case management, I have seen a warrant list where they do pay, they have actively been paying for people's rent, some rent assistance for some people. There, however, was a lady at a meeting stating that she was trying to get housing and assistance with housing, and they told her they didn't have any money. So, this first, this paragraph here has me skeptical. Let's get to the state oversight. In this case, they should have been made to provide proof of all of these things that they claim that they do, right? They shouldn't have just been able to write this and say, this is what we do. No, you need to send proof that this is what you do. So I think we could start there. Multidisciplinary means case management, vocational support, therapy. They don't even offer therapy at the township anymore. They didn't. After Lil Stank came in, she fired over 62 people, and mostly they worked in the mental health area of the township. That arm of the township actually does not even exist anymore. So yeah, this is why this state oversight is important, why it needs to be done, and why this cannot be left unregulated. Because look at it, they put that in there, and there was no mental health, no mental health. After Lil Stank came in, she fired all of those people. She let all of those people go. And I don't know how they're going to be able to rebuild that portion of the township, which I think is very important. I hope that they do. I know that Napoleon is going to come in and he's going to do what's needed and what the people ask for. So hopefully that portion will get rebuilt, and they'll be able to get grants in that area to help them rebuild it. Then they claimed they was going to engage young people through strength discovery and future planning. Tailored services assist in goal attainment across the transition domains. Acknowledge and develop people choice and responsibility with young people. Build and ensure a safety net of support. Enhance and build upon the young person's competencies. Remain outcome focused. Include everyone, parents, teachers, and other community partners. Now, we did not see any other community partners involved except for the fire department. So again, this is why state regulation needs to be implemented in these grants, and anything at the state level needs to be heavily regulated. Because look at this, none of these things, most of these things did not even happen. They did not involve the parents, they did not involve teachers, they didn't do any of that other than involve the fire department, which I don't think was a bad thing, but they did it because it was a requirement. It's something that they put that they were going to do. They were going to find solutions. So they felt like, oh, we'll just implement this one. Man, would all this be done at the listen, Rodney, I don't know where even all of this took place. I know that the CPR classes and those things, they took place at the fire department. I think it was Firehouse 1 because they have a huge room. And so they did the CPR class there, I believe. Okay, so let's go to this next Exhibit F. This is what whoever wrote this grant, this is what they wrote for Exhibit F. This is the portion that took me out. Okay, listen to this. Thornton Township will commit to engaging 39 at-use risks each quarter for the duration of the funding opportunity. If awarded, Thornton Township will connect with local social workers, case managers, and McKinney-Vento liaisons to help identify, connect, and issue referrals for the program. Students, individuals exhibiting 2 or more indicators will be given priority upon assessment. Thornton Township will specifically look at increased attendance in school, the number of positive need-based service connections determined at assessment and intake, sustained employment for 6 months or more, and decreased hostile interactions in and outside controlled environments as indicators of this program's success. Okay, so this is where I have the problem. This is what you say, but you didn't have any signed contracts from any caseworkers, no social workers, no McKinney-Vento liaisons. If you don't know what McKinney-Vento is, let me tell you what McKinney-Vento is, because I was McKinney-Vento in the city of Madison. Thank you, Miss Prima Donna. McKinney-Vento in the state of Illinois is you are telling the municipality that you are homeless and that you are homeless in their municipality. McKinney-Vento, it's named after someone. I didn't look that up for you guys, but I should have. I'll have it for the next video when we get our other Foia back. Yeah, Seashell, on the surface, it sounds like a wonderful plan. Okay. Let's see. Have you seen SP video on Pimp Guy Anthony? I know that's right. Yeah, on the surface, it seems wonderful. It seems like, oh, this is a beautiful thing for the community, right? For the kids, especially. You know, they're going to learn skills. They're going to get job referrals. They're going to work with social workers that can keep them on track. Their schools will be involved, case managers. I mean, you didn't have a contract with a case management company. And like I said, McKinney-Vento is homeless people living in your village or under your township umbrella. In every municipality, if you are homeless, let's say you are living with someone, just in case you don't know this, McKinney-Vento unlocks a whole bunch of programs in the village that you're staying in, right? So let's just say it was me. I was McKinney-Vento in Matson, Illinois. Because I filed McKinney-Vento in Matson, Illinois, then I can choose whatever school I wanted my child to go to in the village of Matson. So if I wanted them to go to Myra Yates, which is where my daughter went in Matson, then that's the school I chose. There are other elementaries in the village of Matson. I could have chose any of those elementary schools because I was filing McKinney-Vento. So when I went to file McKinney-Vento, I filed it through the school. So if you have school-aged children and you are homeless in Illinois in your municipality, then go to your school and tell them, your school district office, and tell them, I need to file McKinney-Vento in the school district. And once you do that, it goes throughout. It goes to the village, and everyone knows that you're McKinney-Vento, and so you can be exempt from, like, if that village has stickers. So the village of Madison, they have stickers. So I was exempt from having to pay for a sticker. I just went and picked up my sticker from my car and I put it on my car. In lots of cases, you're exempt from tickets, from like parking tickets. So my vehicle happened to be parked on the street. I got a parking ticket. I went down to the village. I went to the hearing, and I stood before the person that oversees the hearings, and I said, I'm McKinney-Vento in the village of Madison. He said, he looked it up, and he said, case dismissed. So, it's just proper to do things proper in your village. Rodney Brown being transparent is humbling, right? And it sometimes may seem embarrassing, but it doesn't have to be. They never embarrassed me when I filed McKinney-Vento. They began to help me. I got assigned a caseworker. The caseworker would always make sure that I had food, that I had somewhere to stay, that I was safe, and that the kids were safe. And that's what they did. And so if you are listening to this video and you are staying with someone, even if you're staying with your parent, right, you can still go file McKinney-Vento because that's not your residence, that's their residence. So, it will unlock a whole bunch of programs and opportunities that they will call you for. Job trainings, job opportunities, things for your children, funding for yourself. So don't be embarrassed to do so. Everybody can be in your position. If you need to file McKinney-Vento, then I would say do it. I don't know what it's called in other states. I just only know what it's called in Illinois, but it's McKinney-Vento, and that is for anyone that is homeless, living in a village or school district. Okay. Never heard of the Vento. Learning something new every day. I assume McKinney-Vento is limited to Illinois. I don't know, Lady Luck. It could be called something different in the state of Georgia. Let me see. Okay, so it says McKinney-Vento is a homeless assistance act that applies to all states, territories, and the District of Columbia. It's actually a federal law. Okay, it's actually a federal law. So there is McKinney-Vento in every state, and you can go and file McKinney-Vento in your school district and have things unlocked to you. State assistance, federal assistance, school stability. The one thing I liked about McKinney-Vento was that my child was able to put my child in a school that I felt I was comfortable with. And so there you have it. Oh, you're welcome, Lady Luck, no problem. All right, so this program sounded beautiful on paper. Okay, what they wrote was absolutely beautiful. Now look at this next part. It says 100% of participants will have access to referrals for case management, homelessness prevention services, employment, food assistance, vocational training. I really wish this had worked the way they put it on paper. The 100% employment referrals, some of those youth could have really been working jobs now, and really starting a career path, have started a career path, right? 80% of the participants will be sustained employment and engagement for of 6 months or more. I don't think that happened. Some of the youth in some of the posts that I saw, the parents were complaining that they didn't even get paid correctly. This was a trauma portion that they put in, that they were the importance of recognizing that victimization, trauma, and adversities are everyday experiences, but also that many children suffer from more than one such experience. This talks about SA, helping SA victims, motivational interviewing, critical decision making. All of these teaching things would have been great, right? Because if this is at-risk youth, they all get exposed to these things if they're at risk, right? So they could be getting exposed to these things, to play with the children and to play with the people. As far as this grant is concerned, for me, is unacceptable. And if there was more state oversight, this probably would not have even happened. Yeah, Jody, because it's a thing. It is becoming a fast thing. Mel S., thank you so much. Thank you for sharing so openly. Having a history to victory is truly a blessing. It definitely is. There is no testimony without a test, right? There is no testimony without a test. So I'm not afraid to go through a test to give you that testimony. That's just me. I've never been easily embarrassed. So, hey, K-Mac, how you doing? Okay, no problem. But yeah, I mean, this would have been great, because at-risk youth, like I said, all of them probably had come in contact with a lot of these things: SA, homelessness, trauma. So right, right, Lady Luck. It is, most of the programs that you can get access to will be through education for your, as far as your children are concerned. But it can unlock so many other doors. Because just like I said, once I found McKinney-Vento, then there was this program called OAI, which I got enrolled in, and they paid for me to become a clinical certified medical assistant at Prairie State. And I didn't have to pay one dime, nothing. I didn't pay for my books, my uniforms, my stethoscope, nothing, anything associated with the class, my books. I didn't have to pay for anything. And so it unlocked a program like that. And I took the program, I passed. I have my license now. I can, go back to work whenever I see fit. But yeah. So, right, light within. All schools in Southland need to be turned into managed schools. They need something, because these kids are not learning how to read or nothing or anything. Okay, so this grant, just looking at it by face value would have been amazing, right? The things that it said it was going to offer would have been amazing. All of the people that it said it was going to involve, all of the agencies, right? The social workers, the case management, employers. This would have been a great, the vocational training. This would have been a great program had it worked the way that they stated it would. This page right here was a checklist for grants. I know about, in federal grants and state grants, they have checklists that give you a number score. They score every category. It's sometimes they use it if loads of people have applied for the grant, to weed out, because they only have a certain number of people that they can allow to participate in these grants. They only have a certain amount of surplus and money. So They use a point system, and most of the time it involves a checklist that they go by. And then you get points for every category that you subsequently can get a yes in. And so this right here was the checklist that they did. The first question was determines who is eligible to receive the federal assistance. So the writing, the synopsis that they turned in clearly defined that they were targeting ages 10 to 24 for their use of the grant. Has responsibility for pragmatic decision making. So they had a program, as you saw. They said that they wanted to do job training. They wanted to have case management. They wanted to, all of those things are the pragmatic decision making process. They had a list of things they wanted to do. Provides goods or services that are ancillary to the operation of the federal program. Does the entity provide goods or services for the recipients of use? They said no. Does the entity provide services designated by the recipient to serve the recipient's participants without regard to specific federal pragmatic requirements? And they didn't meet that part. But that part may not have been heavily weighted. Are the scope, has its performance measured in relation to whether objectives of federal program were met? So the program's criteria were met. They gave a scope of their program and what their program was going to entail for the $1 million. Is the entity carrying out completion of the goal of the grant as stated? And they said yes. Is not subject to compliance requirements? No, because the state, this was not a federal grant, this was a state grant. So there are no regulations or requirements from the state. Whew, child. That part right there is the part that takes me out. Because we are talking about $1 million here. And from what they wrote, if they had used it in the capacity that they wrote, would have affected positively a lot of lives. So, here is the checklist. It gives the people who determined and approved ultimately this grant to the township, August 29th of 2022. Okay. This was the W-9 form that they filled out. This is the contract application document for the state of Illinois. Let me zoom in for you. All right. And so there you see it was a maximum contract amount of $1 million. And they had this is the time frame that they had to spend the money from September 2022 until June of 2023. So that is the time frame. By June of 2023, they would have had to spend this entire $1 million. And so we're going to scroll down and see who signed this paper. And so here, the state of Illinois, Department of Human Services at Thornton Township. This was the agreement. It says items, identify which of the following agreement elements are amended, and it was the budget. Effective date 9/1. Certification, signatures. So the signatures were digitally signed by these two people in the Department of Human Services. And then looky here, who signed the actual agreement. And this email address has me cracking up. Look at the email address that Lil Stank has for herself. T. Henyard, which it looks like the yard, then yard, at Thornton Township. And then Robert put his email address. But as a director of finance, Robert signed this agreement with the state. Why am I saying that? Because that would make him what? Responsible, right? Hold on, let me show y'all this page. Show y'all the page I'm looking at. I was looking at anyway. Here's the W-9. Nothing funny there. This is the page that I was looking at. This is the state agreement. This is the state of Illinois contract obligation document that lays out the time frame right here. This is the time frame from September 22 until June of 23. That is the time frame that they would have had to spend this entire $1 million and or risk losing whatever money was left over. Okay. And like I said, again, we're going to scroll down. This is the contract. It was digitally signed by these people in the Department of Human Services. And then here we go. Robert Hunt Jr. signed the contract. And that will make him partially liable for whatever transpired with said monies that came from the state. Whatever was not properly, I back that out a little bit. Okay. Properly told to the state, he would be responsible for. Let me see what y'all saying, because I can't see what y'all saying. Yep. Liable. In one of Dalton's most recent meetings, Jason gave a business license to a mental health center. That's great. He was screwed when he failed to provide budget reports or any financials related to this grant. This is why I say he's in trouble last month. Well, Lady Luck, he actually did provide the budget reports, and I'll show them to you. He provided the budget reports, which they required, which I showed at the beginning. I don't know when you came in. That there is a sheet that they turn in with just numbers on it. But he actually put stuff in the, I'll show it to you. He actually turned in financials for it. However, and I just showed you the registry. Have you seen the registry, Lady Luck? I'll go back over it for you. Robert should just pull up to the, okay? When they came to visit him allegedly at the township, he should have just told them what he knew. Okay? Yeah, which is so bad, Saint Center, because having a degree from Notre Dame, you could get hired anywhere. Like, that's insane for you to waste that. I came late. Did he include the receipts? He included the receipts to the, I'll show you what he gave that was required, because like I said, this is a state grant. There is no heavy regulation in Illinois over state grants. And I will show you what he turned into them, which they required, okay, after we finish this document. So this is the contract. All this was bundled in the contract. It says uniform grant budget template. This is the grant budget template. This is what they line item out for the things that they told them on this sheet. This is the budget expenditures category. Right? That they needed to turn in. So there's the $1 million. That's the starting point. They said that they were going to use $161,000 for personnel. If I'm not mistaken, that right there, that little number increased so much. Fringe benefits, they said they were going to do $12,388. Supplies, $4,000. Consultant, $12,500, which I believe was Pete. I believe that's what his $17.86 a month worked out to $12,500. Now, this is the thing that blew my mind. So this is why I'm saying that the state regulation for this needs to be stricter and more involved. You see this line item number 15. It says grant exclusive line item, $809,173.80. For you not to have to break down to me what grant exclusive, first of all, means, and second of all, for $809,173.80, that is very lopsided on this accounting sheet, even to me. To me. Okay, now I'm not a certified public accountant, but that's a heavy category there. You should have been made to stipulate what all was going in this category for $809,000. That is a lot of the budget. I would say, what, 75-80% of the budget? What is that? What all is going in there? And then it totals $1 million. Hold on, I can't see what y'all saying before I go to the next page. Exactly, he should have told them everything. And he said they had site inspectors. Robert's not looking good under that bus. Hope Tiff goes by and throws him some Fiji water, okay? Give it away, give it away, okay? Why do I get the feeling that Robert had just typed in numbers when he lumping money into some weird expense account? Okay, Lady Luck, for an accountant, even for him, if he saw that coming from, let's say, the seniors, right? They have a budget and they send him back it filled out with numbers, and he sees one category heavily weighted in other categories, he's going to ask, this is very lopsided. Can you provide me with a list of things that's going to be purchased? Because this right here is very heavy. It's very heavy and it's one line item. But anyway, child, that's what they did. So this again, asking them questions. There were no numbers for this page because they put them in the previous page. Again, here's the breakdown right here of the grant exclusive 809. Man, that if I saw that and I was sitting at my desk, Christy Sommer, I would have been like, hold on, let me go check with somebody, because $809,000 in a grant exclusive category, and I don't know the list of things that's in this category, and it's $809,000 worth of, I don't know, it's exclusive, so I don't know. I would have been running to somebody. I would have been running to my boss and say, I'm not finna sign this. I'm not finna put my name on this. I want to require that they give us a list of what is involved in this $809,000. But, you know, they didn't. It's what I would have done. Okay, and so $1 million contract agreement approval form. This is the person for the Department of Human Services that signed off on this budget. Contract obligation again. This is a copy. Governmental unit. This paper was signed by Little Stank. So they both had to sign agreements. Two people with authoritative power over this grant were Robert Hunt and Lil Stank. You see it right there. So she can't say she didn't have anything to do with it. She can't say somebody signed her name, because she signed her own name. It wasn't a stamp because they redacted her signature. So we couldn't copy it. So the two people on the hook for this grant would be Robert Hunt and Lil Stank. Let me see this. There was another page here that so these are just the articles explaining the grant clauses, right? Case management improvement, part 2, part 3, payments to third parties, telling them how they needed to do that, modifications to estimated amounts, timely billing, telling them they were required to do timely billing. I also feel like the state needs to have a system just like the ARPA funds, where you have to go to that website and input everything, and then with your specific sign in and pin, so that when these numbers get put in, whoever put them in is responsible. Let's see. Counting system. There was something in this that I wanted to show you guys that I saw the other day. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, these are all things, explaining their responsibilities. Grantee expends $500,000 in state grants, but expends $300,000 or more in state grants. Grantee must have financial statement audit conducted in accordance with the general accepted auditing standards. Child, no comment. What did Dave Chappelle say? I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Because that's what I will be doing. I plead fifth. Y'all forgive me. Okay. This right here even tells them what the prohibited payments are. Grantee agrees the payments made by grantor under this agreement will not be used to compensate directly or indirectly any person currently holding an elective office in this state, including but not limited to a seat in the General Assembly. In addition, where the grantee is not instrumental of the state of Illinois, as described in this paragraph, boy, they signed that they was not going to do a lot of things that allegedly I feel like they did. Okay. So you saw the 2 signatures that was on there. Those are the people that are going to be on the hook for this. There ain't no getting around it. Let's see. Purpose. This is the project description. Okay. The grant supports the Thornton Township being on the front lines to serve the most vulnerable individuals. This was their first paragraph that they wrote from the grant that I read you guys. Deliverables or milestones. This right here. Okay, so now Thornton Township will commit to engaging 39 at-use risks for the duration of the funding opportunity. I don't know if that was met because I didn't count those names, but I need to. Thornton Township efforts offers local area ages 16 to 24 employment through a variety of programs. There actually was not a variety of programs. The only program they had was the grass cutting. So what were the girls supposed to do? Were the girls cutting grass too? Or did they have any girls? They were supposed to keep these kids employed all summer. I don't know if that happened. I know that some kids were saying they didn't get paid. And I don't know what they were getting paid to do, to be honest with you. If anybody has any insight into what they were being paid to do, let me know. Let me come back so I can see what you guys are saying. Don't let Robert's Forrest Gump personality fool you. He is wise and has been rocking with Big Tip for a minute. Yeah, he's been rocking with Tiff since he was a trustee and she was a trustee. Prison won't be kind to him at all. SP, who creates the applications for these grants? Applications are created by that as state agency. So the Department of Human Services, they were given a surplus and then they created the application or chose what application process they were going to use. So as you saw, that federal form that was a federal checklist form that they were using. So they decided to use that federal checklist in order to regulate this grant as far as the application process, how they were checking off, making sure that they met the application requirements. And so that whatever agency, they will create their own application or use a template from the federal or some other state agency and just modify. Let's see here. Okay. So then they did program eligibility. You had to be 16 to 24. I didn't know that it went all the way up to 24. So, that was a lot. 24, that's a 16 to 24. That's a good age range. I don't know. I want to know what jobs they did. It says performance indicators, youth that participate in the employment opportunity, increase school attendance, data collection. When I FOIA'd the Township for the information, they didn't even have any contracts. So what providers are required to collect and maintain client-specific data on all youth served in the program. I saw that they had the names of some people, a lot of the kids. Data elements must be collected on each youth, tracked, and reported to the department as requested. Oh, so let me write this down. So let's see if we can request the data collection. So we need the data collection. I asked for the entire packet, but okay, we can go back and FOIA again. So data collection, we also wanted to have the contractual agreements for the consultants, right? Let's see if they turned those in to this department, since that was a category. This data must be maintained by the participant so that reports can be run based on the demographic fields that will be captured. Ethnicity, race. Yeah, so I was wondering if they did this. So this is one thing that I like about the state, and that I feel like they should continue, that they required them to keep data, and it's ethnicity, race, the date of birth, age. It's all those fields that they would have to keep the information on. And I wonder, did they even do it? If they didn't, they were supposed to stop funding them, because this is a requirement. If you come out here and you're trying to get a block grant or some grants out here, they require you to collect this information, some of them, sometimes they require you to turn in this information before they will even give you any money, right? So if you have a nonprofit out here, you will have to be collecting certain data in order to get certain state and federal funding, because they require data collection for you to be able to receive that. So if you nonprofits were wondering why you were filling out applications for grants and you were not getting them, and they don't tell you these things. I found it out in a grant workshop that I went to in my village, right? So if you are finding that you are not receiving grants and you're like, oh, I qualify, but you are not doing data collection, i.e. ethnicity, race, date of birth, age, those types of things, and you have record of, you keeping those things, they automatically disqualify you from certain grants, because they want that data collection. I hear Robert is being extremely rude and grumpy towards, yeah, I would be too. And invoices from those consultants and sub-consultants along with timesheets or certified payroll statements. Okay. We'll see if they have it, because they definitely don't have it at the Township. but I doubt that they have it here because Illinois' state regulation of grants is non-existent. So I doubt that they have any of this information, but I'll ask for it. Hey, Carol Morton. If those kids were paid to do a job, where's that payroll and work permits from the schools? Child. Okay. Anywho, let me get. I thought I made this bigger. I make it bigger so you guys can see what I'm reading. Okay, so this was data collection. So, like I said, if you have a nonprofit and you don't collect demographic information from people that you serve, you need to start, because that is a lot of the reason why you could be getting denied or not winning grants, is because you do not do this. I was told in the grant workshop that I took, it is oftentimes this category that nonprofits automatically get disqualified from certain grants, state and federal, because they don't collect this information. So if you are a nonprofit and you want to start getting access to more money, then start your data collection today. Start your demographic collection today. If you still service some of the same people, tell them this is something new that you're having to implement and collect their demographic information. Okay? I know that's right, Master G. Paper trail everywhere. Okay? That's tip for the nonprofits. It says attendance will be monitored on an ongoing basis throughout the entire duration of the funding period. Pre-enrollment and post-enrollment data will be collected and documented for each youth served in this program. The number of students that demonstrate an increase in academic performance and school attendance among these groups of students will also be recorded and demonstrate the improvements. Pre and post tests will also be used to measure student growth in these areas. Okay. Wow. Let's see. Additional responsibilities. Look at this. Sectarian issue. Organizations may not expend federal or state funds for sectarian instruction, worship, prayer, or I don't even know what that word is. I'm going to look that up. I love learning me some new words. Okay. If the provider organization is faith-based. Well, there's not a faith-based, so they didn't have to worry about that. Background checks. Background checks are required for all program staff and volunteers. Well, we know right there, Lil Stank don't like background checks. So I wonder if they was even done. Lil Stank don't like background checks. Did they tell them that they were done because these people work for the township? The people they were using work for the township. It says volunteers, program staff, and volunteers who have potential for contact with youth under 18. These background checks must be completed in advance of individuals working directly with youth. Such individuals will authorize such checks in writing and submit to fingerprinting when required. Well, let me know, child. Let me write something down before I forget. Okay. Look at this. They needed to have background checks for these people coming into contact with children under the age of 18. I wonder if it was done. I wonder if there were background checks done on the people who participated in the Teen Summit, because it says anyone coming in contact with the youth in this program needed to have a background check. Lord, fix it. Hey, Foxy Roxy. Yeah, Kenneth Davis, everything sounds good on paper, but listen, did they do any of this? This right here? Oh no. I don't know. I'm gonna find out though. Hiring and employment policy. Okay. Confidential information. Each party to this agreement, including its agents and subcontractors, may have or gain access to confidential data, information owned or maintained by the other party. Just confidential protection, record keeping things. Look at this. The provider must exhibit cultural competence when serving youth with special needs, including those who are parenting or expecting fathers, youth who are gay, lesbian, transgender, or questioning their own sexual orientation, delinquent youth, and youth who are physically, emotionally, and developmentally challenged. The provider must be able to provide services to persons who have limited English, persons who are hard of hearing or deaf, persons with low literacy. Man, this program could have been so great. Reporting of unusual incidents. I mean, this literally tells them everything that they need to do. Annual program application plan. Providers are required to submit an annual program application plan each year for non-renewal years. I don't know. This was a one-time grant, so they didn't have to do that. Fiscal reports. Program plan modifications. It says providers are not allowed to make program plan modifications without pre-approval. Wow. I wonder did they even read any of this? Hey, Justin Thompson, how are you? Thank you to all my mods. Nope, not even. Foxy Roxy, Justin Thompson, Shanita Lanier. Thank you all for taking care of the chat and taking care of me. Thank you. They have a list of allowable and unallowable costs. Wow. In addition, the specific to this grant, unallowed cost will also include the following unless otherwise approved in writing by DHS: capital expenditures, renovations or remodeling, purchase of a vehicle, food for staff unless authorized as per diem under the state Illinois Governor's Travel Control Board, deposit or for items, services, or space, allowable costs. Wow. Subcontractors. Monitoring. The provider will provide the department with requested monitoring and evaluation information and understands the department will monitor, audit, and evaluate service records. And then grantee shall receive $1 million under this agreement. Enter specific terms of payment here. Payment terms. Payment policy complies with whatever this law is. Procedures implementing case management improvement. Advance payment. Advance and reconcile. An initial payment will be processed in an amount equal to the first 2 months cash requirements as reflected in the advance payment. So they got an advance and then they had to turn in their reports every month in order to get continued funds. Grantees must submit monthly invoices in the format and method prescribed in the grantee's executed uniform grant agreement. I showed you guys the form that they had to fill out. IHDS will disperse payments to grantees based on actual allowable costs incurred as reporting. That's why when I showed you guys that 1 month that they didn't want to pay for Pete, they didn't have the proper documentation to get him paid, but I think they got that worked out. Working capital advance. They know goodness well they should not be giving Lil Stank and them no type of advances. Okay. Hey, Real McCoy, how you doing? Looked like a lot of info that was not done by Lil Stank. Okay. What are we reading? We're reading the Foia papers that we got from IDHS for the $1 million grant that Kamal was supposed to be over. All right, so additional advance payments and then final payments. Additional advance payments may be considered on a case-by-case basis. So they would have to prove why they needed advance payment and then possibly get those payments. I wonder if Lil Stank and them allegedly maybe had an inside person to be able to get some things done in this department. I don't know. Allegedly, but that's what I'm asking. Final payment, stop payment. They could do stop payment if something happened, which I think is something that they did to Stephen McCain, which is the fire chief. Used to be the fire chief of Dalton during that 1 month that they didn't want to pay him, which I think was April. Repayment. Look at this. In the event payments made by the department to the applicant exceed the total amount of applicant reported and department authorized expenditures, the applicant will be required to issue a repayment to the department in the amount equal to the overpayment. Ooh, child. Okay, I'm going to have to back this out a little bit. All right. This is the contract again. This is the contract. You see whose name is listed there. Lil Stank's name is listed there. Lil Stank is listed as the executive director. So how was it that Kamal was the executive director? So she says, but here in this paperwork, she is listed as the executive director. Yeah, Lady Luck, I showed the budget template report. It's the next page. I'll show it. Did I mess up? Yeah, you did. But I'll show it again. Okay. So why was Kamal's name not listed here as the executive director? Because ain't that what she said he was? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. These are performance measures. Again, these are all things that they are agreeing that they are going to abide by. Here, yeah, the youth grant, the at-risk youth grant, right? Yes. Okay, that's what she said, Lady Luck. That's what I thought, but that's not, his name is not there. So in regards to this grant, they can't do anything to Kamal because he was not listed as the executive director. He was just paid 100% from the grant because she hired him to do whatever she hired him to do. I don't know what that was, but whatever she hired him to do, that's what she hired him to do. Now here's the budget template that they set out. Now look at the number has increased. Look at 15. Look at 15. The personnel number has decreased because at first, wasn't this $161,000? Yeah, I believe it was at the top. 161. Now it's to 111. Right here for fringe benefits, they previously had 12,000. Now it's down to 8,000. Now when we go down here to the grant exclusive line number 15, now it says $879,000. Then it's saying that the total cost now is not $1 million completely, but $999,99,99,95. Is this some Shein Temu type grant? What we doing? Okay, I don't know. No, this is not being documented in real time. Okay, these are the four papers that I got from DHS. Okay, so now y'all see the new numbers. Now, y'all let me know in the chat. At the top of this document, these papers had different numbers on them. Okay, now we at She and Timu numbers down here 999, 99, 99, 95. Okay, but whatever. I'm just showing you. So now it's two different people signing off on this paper. At first, it was this Christy. When I said, I don't know, if I was Christy, I wouldn't be signing off on $809,000 on a line item that say grant exclusive. I want to see it itemized what this $809,000 is for. Okay, that's just me though. That's just me. Just me. Okay, just me. But as you can see, okay, I'm gonna show y'all. Let me see. I'm gonna scroll up. Okay, this page has 111,000 for line item number 1, and then number 2 has 8,052, and y'all see the other numbers down there. So let me go and find this other page that was at the top. The same page with some different numbers on it. I don't know who did this at the department. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Let me get it. Okay, I found the other page. Okay, who documenting these numbers? Y'all see these numbers? I can't see what y'all saying. Let me go over here and see what y'all saying. It still burns me that he was supposed to be in charge of that program and nobody anywhere ever asked him to speak up at those meetings to where any money was going or what he actually got paid for. Amen. Wow, discrepancies all over the place and no invoices or receipts to reconcile against. This is insane. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. So y'all see these numbers? Y'all watching these numbers? These numbers right here. Okay. These are the new numbers. Let's go to the old numbers. Y'all ready? Boom. The old number says, look right there, number 1 with personnel says 161,000. Let me zoom in for you. Right there. It says 161,000. Right? Then for fringe benefits, it says 12,000. Supplies 4,000. Consultant 12,500. And then there go the grant exclusive line item that says 809, and then that equals $1 million. But when we go back down here to the end of this, we get these numbers. Now, not a 161, but 111. There is no consultant numbers now. There is no supplies number now. Now we at 999.99. Okay, listen. I'm not touching any of this. I'm not making any of this up. This is what came in my Foia documents. I have not modified anything. Okay. So we went through that document. Now let's go here. Okay, so this was in my Foia documents that I asked for. It says approved budget, Bureau of Positive Youth Development. You see it says Thornton Township. It says, listen on this. It says report contact Keith Freeman. See this? Keith Freeman. That's what this one says. Personnel, they got these numbers here. 11,000, the last numbers we just seen. It says youth workers and fringe, 879,000. That's the same one, right? Right. Look right here though. Let me increase this. Hold on, let me increase this so y'all can see. Okay, we get ready to get up close. Right there, it says report contact Keith Freeman. Okay, scroll down. There go those raggedy numbers we saw. But look over here. Look over here. Go across from personnel. In the narrative, what do it say? It says Stanley Brown, Program Director. To be determined, Program Director. And Robert Hunt, Finance Director. Where is Kamal's name at? Huh? Where is Kamal's name? Where is Kamal's name at? I mean, these are some Timu Shein numbers. Where's Kamal's name? Nowhere. That's why he can walk around and not say nothing, because he said my name ain't on anything. Anything, nothing but my paycheck. They can give me my paycheck. Okay. Here is the lady, look, I think you were asking for this. Here is the sheet, the monthly expenditure sheet that they had to turn in. This is a blank one. This is what they sent them. This is what they had to fill out and everything. Right? Right. So let's go to what they sent. Here we are. We had these. They sent them. So that's why I say, Lady Luck, Robert did turn in something. He didn't, to me, he was not required to turn in an itemized sheet. This is the sheet that they required him to fill out. This is the sheet that he filled out. This is the sheet. He filled it out and he sent it. Looks like monthly, right? Right. He did that. He was not required to send an itemized statement. They only asked him about Stephen McCain's 1786 for the month of April. Those are the problems that they had. They said they had other accounting problems, but they didn't list them. But he did send paperwork. He sent the paperwork they asked him to send, which was to fill out this budget for every month. And it looks like that he did that. April, March, January, December, see, November, December. This is January. This is February, March. And see, on the line item that I have from the township, the month of January is skipped and the month of February. But this is skipped. But this right here is what he turned in. Let me see what y'all saying, because I'm on a different page. Sorry. Okay. Okay, two more numbers. That's what I'm saying. 999.99.95. Because what in the world? With legitimate numbers. I don't know if they're legitimate numbers, Real McCoy. I, didn't stop to add them up, because if the other numbers didn't add up to me, wait, so Black and Blue was the finance director of the youth program. No, Black and Blue was the program director. Black and Blue was listed as the program director. Robert Hunt was listed as the finance director. Okay, so how would they verify if these amounts are valid without any event? Okay, this is a state grant. They have a lot less regulations than federal grants. Keep that in your mind. Okay, how do they validate numbers? Your guess is as good as mine, because I feel like they only are concerned about making sure that they don't go over the $1 million, right? They're just making sure that they spend $1 million. This is the plug and play sheet that they gave them to fill out. They didn't ask for an itemized statement. Okay. And so possibly they didn't, they don't require that. But I'm telling you that they need to require that. There needs to be more and better requirements for these state grants in the state of Illinois. I don't know what other states do, but in the state of Illinois. I showed you on the register that I FOIA'd from the township that January and February was missing. But if you look here, he turned in November. This is December. He turned in January. This is January. January, he said that they spent $84,450 of the grant. In February, they spent the running tabulation for the month. They spent $56,000. So he got month, and then he has year to date. That's February. Then he has March. For the month of March, they spent $69,000. And then there's the running tabulation on that side. We couldn't get a correct running tabulation on his register that he kept at the township. I don't. So he went from, let's look here, 196. In the month of April, they spent $125,000. $125,000. Let's see what they spent it on. They say they spent it on payroll and whatnot for the youth. The youth summit expense. That's what it says. So maybe to coordinate everything, I don't know. And then they list Pamela Earhart, Jocelyn King. These are all people that they paid under the personnel. For the month of May, they spent $153,000. And then that's the running tab. Right? So, yeah. I mean, I could go back. I could do a whole nother live on these tabulations. But I'm going to Foia the Department of Human Services again and ask for those other things. Okay? These names are killing me today. Some of these names I'm seeing here. But yeah, y'all saw that paper that said Stan was the program director. So where's Kamal coming in at? I want to know, because they still never listed him on any of these papers other than these monthly sheets that Robert turned in. And Robert just turned in finance director and program director. He didn't start listing Kamal's name until, let's see, when Kamal's name was listed. Kamal's name was listed in April of 23. April of 23, Kamal's name was finally listed, and it says employees: Kamal Wood, Robert Hunt, Gloria White, Charles Red, Brandon Moman. That's what it says. And let's see if Kamal was listed every month going after that. Yep, he on there. It just 3 months. Who got paid these other months? Because his name was not specifically listed on these other months. It just said program director. Program director salaries. That's what it say. But okay. Nice little quick live. That's all I got for you. Let's see. They just typed in numbers with no payroll or timesheets or anything. The FBI auditors are probably pissed. Listen, because now they have to either try to go to the bank and match up the bank register with canceled checks is what they would have to do, Lady Luck, during this time, just to see, who got paid actually, where the numbers are. This is a lot. They will catch extra prison time for insulting math at this point. Okay. The auditor is the pimping man explains a lot. Seems like Kamal is the only one who covered, because, listen, I could say a lot at this point about that. Because if you going to take the bullet, why should I? This is crazy as hell. They didn't even try to cover their tracks. Well, I mean, why should you try to cover your tracks if nobody is going to look at your tracks? Look at how far behind we are. We are in 2025 talking about something that happened in 2023 and 2022. Yeah, tells you a lot. That's why I feel like there needs to be a better state regulated situation. Okay, guys, I'm getting ready to get out of here. But I will be on Twitch this evening. We're going to have fun on Twitch this evening. I just put my Twitch link in the chat if you feel like you want to join us for a fun conversation on Twitch about, I would say about 8:39. Then join me over there. Okay. Oh, thank you, LLC. Everybody's been doing great on their videos. Um, Robert is not. Let me tell you, for me, I believe that Robert is loyal to a fault. He is not going to um bend or snitch unless they press him and say, okay, well, you can go down for the whole thing. We'll see you in next lifetime. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. He's married, so maybe his wife will help them, and convince him. I noticed Robert is at all the meetings for Dalton and TT, always in the audience. I didn't see Robert at any Dalton meetings, but Thornton Township, and I see him. He wasn't at he was at the Thornton Township meeting. I don't know if he's been at any of the other ones. He didn't go to the town hall meeting, so he missed the last meeting because there was 2 meetings, a town hall meeting and then a meeting. So he missed that. No, Jim C, thank you. No, thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe, if you will, to the channel. Sure, you need to come over on Twitch. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're talking about dating over 40. You're going to learn a lot of things about the super producer, personal things that I don't mind sharing. And so we're going to go over there. Rodney Brown, thank you. Mel S, thank you. Thank you to everybody that tuned in today. Thank you. And I will see you guys. Hey, lovely Ruth. No problem. I will see you guys over on Twitch tonight. We are going to have a good time. We're also going to talk. I'm telling you, dating over 40. We got to discuss this. I need some mental health. I got some things. Okay, we're going to go over there and we're going to have a good time. We're going to, have a good time being able to talk like adults freely and do what we do. Okay? Twerk and Twitch is a real thing, and Twitch is a real thing. Okay? I know that's right, Laura. They should be for insulting algebra the way that they are insulting it. Okay? All right. You guys, all of you, okay? Take care. No Old Spice or Axe. Listen, Kenneth, I don't care. I don't care what you wear. As long as it smells nice. I just don't want it to smell bad. Okay? We'll get my child to find the Twitch. Okay, yeah. Get your child to find it for you, okay? Okay? And Kenneth, I don't care what the band wear. If he like Axe, if he like Spice, that's his business. As long as it don't stink. Okay? As long as it don't stink. So I'll see y'all over there so y'all can get in my business and we can get this figured out. Okay? Listen, super producer wishes nothing but blessings for your life. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you guys on Twitch.
Oh, I ain't want nothing, man. Just wanted to tell you I love you. Oh, I ain't want nothing, man. Just wanted to tell you I love you. Oh, I ain't want nothing, man. Just wanted to tell you I love you.